Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli has left for Davos, Switzerland to attend the World Economic Forum. The annual summit hosts discussions among the leaders, intellectuals and entrepreneurs of prosperous nations regarding alleviating poverty in nations with poor economic status. The tragedy is that the gap between the rich and the poor, or the haves and the have-nots, have been widening each year. Prime Minister Oli is leading a 19-member delegation which left for Switzerland yesterday. Prime Minister Oli is to attend 3 forums and hold sideline dialogues as well. More than 60 heads of the government and states are to attend the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland this year. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli is set to attend the summit, which will feature more than 3,000 participants, including the investors. Discussions on investment, trade and poverty alleviation, among other topics, are to be held at the summit. Especially the prosperous nations, who boast most of the international wealth, will discuss on reducing the gap between the rich and the poor economies. It comes at a time when the very gap has been widening at an alarming rate. 1% population of the world has more wealth than the rest of the 99%. 82% of the wealth increment in 2017 also went to the same 1% people. Half of the world population did not relish any increase in wealth last year. Despite the issue of poverty alleviation and erasing the gap gathering much fervor at international forums, nations with poor economic conditions have yet to benefit from the same. It remains to be seen how Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli addresses the forum. Based on a recent report prepared by 3 international non-governmental organizations, including Oxfam, 10% of Nepal's population has 26 times more wealth than people under the poverty line. The gap between the rich and the poor in Nepal has widened as the affluents have easy access in policy formulation. This issue is globally contextual. Decisions at international forums are made based on the interests of rich economies or nations, and this is why it is not easy to reduce the gap between the contrasting economies. It is imperative for Nepal, which is participating at the World Economic Forum for the first time at prime ministerial level, to raise its voice regarding this issue. Prime Minister Oli is scheduled to return on Saturday. Moving on, the Constitutional Council has recommended the chairpersons of 5 constitutional commissions. Former Secretary Balananda Paudel has been recommended as the chairman of the National Natural Resource and Fiscal Commission. Provincial governments had long been demanding the federal government to appoint the leadership of the commission, citing difficulty in their operation. The council also recommended former Finance Secretary Shantara Swedi as the chairman of the National Inclusive Commission and Bijay Kumar Datta as the chairman of the Madhesh Commission. Vishnu Prasad Chaudhary was recommended as the chairman of the Tharu Commission and Samim Ansari for the National Muslim Commission. The council meeting was held in the absence of main opposition Nepali Congress's parliamentary party leader Sherbal Dewa. Based on the existing provisions, the president is to appoint the recommended officials following the endorsement by the Parliamentary Hearing Committee. Chief Justice Cholendra Samsar Rana has expressed commitment of putting an end to the irregularities of middlemen or brokers in the country's judiciary by formulating laws if required. Speaking with journalists, Rana informed that he had begun discussions to put an end to the rampant corruption in the judiciary caused by the existence of such brokers and fixers. He said that such middlemen could be charged with contempt of court as well. It has been over 60 years since satellites were launched to the space. Around 8,000 large and small satellites of many nations are in operation at the moment. Nepal is finally preparing to send its first nano satellite. It has been learned that the nano satellite prepared in Japan by Nepalese scientists is scheduled to be launched from Virginia in the United States of America in the 3rd week of April. All tests of the nano satellite named Nepal Satellite 1 prior to its launch have been completed. It took Nepalese scientists Avas Maske and Hariram Shrestha 2.5 years to develop the nano satellite. Nano satellites of Sri Lanka and Japan were also built under Maske's leadership. The nano satellites of all 3 nations, developed with the technical support from the Kyushu Institute of Technology, Japan, are to be launched into space together from Virginia in the 3rd week of April. Nepal's satellite, which weighs 1.33 kilograms, will tour the space for 3 years. It will travel past the Nepalese sky, totaling 10 minutes each day, and will send pictures of the Earth. The pictures to be received from the satellite would ease in study and research for disaster management and impact of climate change, among others. The government had provided the Nepal Academy of Science and Technology (NAST) with 18 million rupees for the launching of the satellite and acquisition of resources required for building the satellite. Preparations are underway to build a ground station in Komaltar, which will facilitate the NAST in processing and managing the pictures that would be received from the satellite. Sputnik 1 was the first artificial Earth satellite launched by the then Soviet Union back in 1957. Despite the low cost in launching of a satellite, Nepal's indifference regarding the same before this is quite disappointing. However, Nepal's preparation to launch a satellite of its own after 6 decades since the first ever launch in itself is a positive sign. A successful first launch would be inspiring for the launch of large satellites for internet and telecommunications in days ahead. Dr. Govinda Kesi, who has been staging his 16th round of hunger strike since 13 days, has been transferred from the intensive care unit to general ward. The TU Teaching Hospital transferred Dr. Kesi to ward following his concerns for serious patients. Meanwhile, two opposing factions have been protesting at the hospital in relation to Dr. Kesi's hunger strike. Dr. Govinda Kesi's health condition is yet to recover because of pneumonia, chest pain and low blood pressure, among other issues. With worsening condition, Dr. Kesi was flown from Ilam to Kathmandu on Friday and was admitted at the ICU in TU Teaching Hospital. However, Dr. Kesi said that his presence in the ICU would mean occupying a bed, which could be of significance for patients with serious disease and need, and therefore was transferred by the hospital to the general ward. Despite critical health condition, Dr. Kesi is not in favor of putting an end to his protest until the endorsement of the medical education bill based on the agreements forged with him in the past. Dr. Kesi began his 16th round of hunger strike after the Parliament's Education and Health Committee endorsed the medical education bill with the provision of universities granting affiliations to medical colleges, an arrangement against the agreement reached between the government and Dr. Kesi in the past. More than 200 resident doctors have been protesting with black armbands in solidarity with Dr. Kesi. Meanwhile, students affiliated with ruling Nepal Communist Party have protested at the hospital against Dr. Kesi's hunger strike. Hospital is not a venue for protest. It is a sensitive facility where patients seek medical attention and healing. Treatment of those in need should not be affected at hospitals under any pretext. The uncertainty in Melamchi drinking water project remains to be cleared after the contracting company decided to abandon the project. The government is making preparations to proceed with the remaining works on its own if the contracting company fails to resume works within 2 weeks, for which the government is willing to wait. Italian contracting company CMC has said that a dialogue is necessary prior to its return to work and has proposed a neutral venue, citing security threat in Nepal. However, the project has rejected the proposal and sent a warning letter with 14-day ultimatum for the company to scrap the contract. Based on that, preparations have been made to proceed from the government side if the contractor fails to communicate within 14 days. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli is now paying special interest in Melamchi project after the contractor company abandoned it. Project officers have told Prime Minister that the project can be made functional by April if it is allowed to operate in a special arrangement by bypassing the Public Procurement Act. There is no technical complications for the project itself to complete the finishing works in the tunnel, as it has already reached the final phase. Promises and assurances on Melamchi water reaching Kathmandu has seen numerous delays. Recently, Secretary at the Ministry for Drinking Water, Gajinder Thakur, addressing the meeting of the Parliament's Development Committee on the 2nd of December, had claimed that Melamchi water would reach Kathmandu taps within 2 months. However, the same Secretary Thakur this time is stepping back from making any statements, saying that he was not the official figure to talk about Melamchi project. This is why the project should now prioritize completion of works instead of setting yet another deadline. The government introduced the program of replacing the paper-based driving license with smart cards from the mid of December 2015. Lack of adequate preparations from the government and irresponsibility at the part of contractors meant the service seekers had to wait for 18 months to receive their smart cards. Work of the company assigned with the responsibility of printing the smart cards to address this issue by the Transport Department has been found to be of low quality. After the number of service seekers waiting to receive their smart cards crossed 700,000, the government assigned a private company named Malika with the responsibility of printing 500,000 cards at the rate of 15 rupees per card 4 months ago. The Department of Transport Management had assigned the task of printing licenses on the smart card it had purchased. However, Malika has been found of wasting the cards instead of ensuring quality work. Discussions have begun at the department to stop printing cards from Malika because of their low quality output. The transport sector has further become ill-managed despite the efforts to make it technology-friendly, as the department failed to select a reliable contracting company. A total of 500,000 service seekers are compelled to drive their vehicles on the basis of receipt instead of a driving license because of the delay and compromisation in quality. Youth seeking foreign employments have been the worst affected. The time period of wait for the service seekers to receive a driving license still remains uncertain. Questions have begun to surface regarding how the government mechanism would operate railway and waterways or ships when it cannot even ensure quality printing and timely distribution of driving licenses that are considered quite basic. Moving on, there are numerous religious places in the hilly regions of Sudur Paschim province where Indian tourists can be brought in. However, benefits have not been realized because of the absence of basic infrastructures for tourists, including accommodation at these religious destinations. Near the Mahakali River, which separates Nepal and India, lies the temple of Tripura Sundari. The language spoken and religious practices at both the sides of the river are similar. A few Indian nationals reach religious places like Tripura Sundari because of similar religious faith and beliefs as well. Nigala Saini Bhagwati temple is located near Baitari headquarters at a distance of 5 kilometers from Tripura Sundari. The ill management of the temple is a major hurdle in the tourism prospects despite the exciting geographical setup and environment. There are also places of religious significance near Sudur Paschim capital Godavari. However, attention remains to be paid regarding the construction of tourism infrastructures in all these places. A lot of tourists reach the religious places in the bordering Indian region of Sudur Paschim on a daily basis. Nepal has failed to attract such tourists because of lack of promotion and absence of infrastructures, despite the possibilities created by the religious significance and natural beauty. Welcome back. The Sazandi Sandhi Kharka Dhorpatan Road project aims to take the tourist visiting Gautam Buddha's birthplace Lumini to hilly districts Palpa, Arghakhanchi, Gulmi, Putan, and then to Dhorpatan of Baglung. However, the road project has been stranded for 7 years because of the protest of locals in Sandhi Kharka. In this context, we had asked a few public representatives of Arghakhanchi and the locals regarding what they think should be done to address the complications regarding the construction of the roadway. Let us now take a look at what they had to say.
Public voice.
हामीले बजारबाट दिनेवाला छैनौं, हाम्रो बास गास उतार्नेवाला छैनौं, हाम्रा हट्टी पत्लन हामीले बास गास उतारेर बस्ती यहाँ बाटो लान दिन्नौं।
12 मिटर क्याबिनेटबाट पास गरेर बजारबाटै लाने भनेर अहिले कुरा चलिरहेको छ। त्यो नै उपयुक्त छ जस्तो लाग्छ मलाई, र जनतालाई कम क्षति हुने र राज्यले क्षतिपूर्ति पनि जनतालाई दिनुपर्ने हुन्छ।
यहाँबाट बाटो लैजाँदा धेरै क्षति हुनेछ। हामीले मात्र नभएर हाम्रो छोरा नाति पोलातीले सम्म उसले यो गरिखाने भाडो हो के, त्यसको लागि सरकारले क्षति नगरोस्, अन्तबाट निकास खोजोस्।
ढोरपाटनले अराखाँचीको विकासमा धेरै चाहिँ रोकावट ल्याएको छ। तब किनभने यो बाटो नखोलिएर यहाँका जनताहरू धेरै अन्योलमा छन्। उहाँहरूलाई चाहिँ यो कहिले ढोरपाटन जान्छ र हाम्रो घर भत्किन्छ भन्ने पनि छ। त्यो अन्यल छिटोभन्दा छिटो हटाउनु पर्छ।
नेपाल सरकारको नीति अनुसार मौलिक अधिकारका कुराहरू छन्, सम्पत्तिको अधिकारका कुराहरू छन्। यहाँ कसैले कुनै शक्ति प्रयोग गरेर केही गरेर सडक लान्छु भनेको त्यो एउटा दिवा सपना देख्नु हो।
गरिब जनतामाथि भनेर यहाँको केही चल्दैन, कोही छैन भनेर यिनीहरूले दबाब बार चुत्राबेसी भन्दै बार हामीलाई रात दिन टेन्सन चाहिँ दिइरहेको छ। यो उसले यहाँका राजनीतिक दलहरूले
यसको मापदण्ड धेरै ठुलो छ। त्यो कारणले गर्दाखेरि बजार मासेर बाटो लान मिल्दैन।
जनसमुदायको भावनालाई उचित कदर गर्दै यसको निकासको लागि हामी अगाडि बढ्ने प्रक्रियामा हामी लागिरहेका छौँ।
It is now time for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
The question is, why did Nepal fail to prioritize launching a satellite of its own for 6 decades? Your options are A, lack of farsightedness, B, no understanding at all, and C, busy in internal affairs. The voting is on. You can type NEWS, select your option A, B or C, and then send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. With this, let us move on to the sports news.
Sports news.
Manchester City have brushed aside Huddersfield by 3-0 at the English Premier League. Pep Guardiola's men led through Danilo in the 18th minute. His goal marked the 100th goal for Manchester City across all competitions this season. City are the first team in the 5 top domestic leagues, that in England, Spain, Italy, Germany and France, to achieve this feat for the season. Having led the first half by a goal, City continued to pile the pressure in the second half as well. Raheem Sterling and Leroy Sané found the net in the second half to seal the 3-0 win as they continue to follow league leaders Liverpool. City are second in the points table with 56 points, while Liverpool remain atop the table with 60 points from 23 matches. Another Premier League match played last night saw Tottenham Hotspur secure a dramatic 2-1 win against Fulham. Fulham led through an own goal from Tottenham's Fernando Llorente. Mauricio Pochettino's men made a strong comeback in the second half as Dele Alli equalized in the 51st minute, while Harry Winks scored the winner in the fag-end of the additional time. Tottenham were without their star men Harry Kane and Son Heung-min. Leaders Barcelona have registered a 3-1 win against Leganes at the Spanish La Liga. Ousmane Dembele shot hosts Barca into lead as he found the net in the 32nd minute of the match played at Nou Camp. However, Martin Braithwaite equalized for Barca in the 57th minute. Luis Suarez reinstated Barca's lead as he scored in the 71st minute, while Lionel Messi sealed the 3-1 win in the additional time. Messi had entered the play as a substitute in the 64th minute. Following the win, Barcelona have extended their lead at the top of the table to 5 points as Atletico Madrid follow close with 41 points. Barca's rivals Real Madrid are third with 36 points. Nepal's squad for the upcoming One Day International and 2020 series against the United Arab Emirates has been announced. However, Sharad Veswakar is to miss out from the squad, which includes 4 debutants. Pawan Sharaf, Sandeep Zora, Avinash Bora and Vim Sarki have made it to the national squad for the first time as Nepal gears up for the series against UAE, which kicks off on the 27th of January. All 4 debutants for Nepal have climbed up the ranks through the under-19 team. They have made it to the senior team for the first time following impressive performances at domestic tournaments and training camps. Experienced senior player Sharad Veswakar will miss the series as despite his involvement in the camp, Veswakar has withdrawn his name because of falling ill at the 11th hour. Prior to this, Veswakar had returned home from the World Cricket League matches against Hong Kong and had missed the second One-Day International against the Netherlands due to an injury. The squad was prepared following consultations among ICC representative Emmanuel Islam, coach Jagat Tamata and skipper Paras Khatka. The squad led by skipper Paras Khatka includes Gyanendra Malla, Avinash Bora, Basanta Regmi, Vinod Bandari, Vim Sarki, Dipendra Aire, Karan Casey and Lalit Raj Bangse. Likewise, Arif Sheikh, Pawan Sharaf, Pradeep Airi, Rohit Kumar Paudel, Sandeep Lamechhane, Sampal Khami and Sandeep Jora have also made it to the squad. Spin prodigy Sandeep Lamechhane is scheduled to return Nepal today to join the squad. Team Nepal leaves for UAE on Tuesday. And now, before we wrap up, here's a look at the top stories one more time. Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli leaves for Davos, Switzerland to attend the World Economic Forum. Event an opportunity to raise voice on reducing the gap between rich and poor economies. Nepal gears up to launch its own satellite. Preparations underway to launch the nano satellite from Virginia in April. US President Donald Trump attacks Democrats for rejecting his proposals to end the longest government shutdown in US history. Democrats term the proposals unacceptable. And Manchester City secured a 3-0 win against Huddersfield as they continue to follow Liverpool in the English Premier League. Tottenham Hotspur see a Fulham 2-1. That is all for the moment. Our next English bulletin will air at 11 a.m. Keep watching Kantipur Television SD for more news and entertainment. Thank you for watching. Have a great day ahead.